How's it going, everybody? It's Jumpsuit John. Let's jump into it. Long time no see. Glad to be back. Today we're going to start a new series. Don't worry, the old series is still in the works. But I wanted to start a new series because I feel like it's important. And we're going to call that series Carrying Water. What does this mean? It means we're going to take an idea that is intricate or inherent to a particular setting, and we're going to run with it, baby. Maybe the author didn't intend for somebody to run with it, but we sure are. So here we go. And today's topic that we are going to run up that hill with, that we are going to fill our buckets and run back down with, is male disposability. And there was one particular branch and topic that does this well. One group that highlights this particular issue very, very well. You know them. You love them. It's the Space Marines. And I hear you balk. Jumpsuit, what do you mean, Space Marines? Male disposability. They're the peak. They're the super soldiers. They're the Emperor's finest. They're the weapons of the 40K universe. They're genetically superior. They're made in gene seed and armor and weapons. And, they're the finest. And how are they disposable? I think you've all missed it. And let me make my case. Before you all jump at me in the comments, I think everybody has missed it. And we'll start from the beginning. And here's how we'll start from the beginning. Let's take the entirety of all the legions, right? Let's go back in history. Let's go back to the original writings of the Space Marines, right? Horus Heresy. The Primarchs have just been scattered. Pardon my lisp. I bit my tongue. Seizures are a bitch. If you want to know more, you can ask down in the comments below. I digress. Horus Heresy. The Primarchs have been scattered. The legions are without their gene fathers. But there are still legionnaires. Right? There are still legions. Tens of thousands of legionnaires. Hundreds of thousands of legionnaires spreading across the stars, doing the Emperor's will. You don't know a single one of their names. And that's the beginning of this idea. This idea of male disposability specifically within Warhammer 40K, but the highlight of it within Warhammer 40K, male disposability. And from there, it only grows. You get the Primax come back. The whole hullabaloo with Horus and the drama that happens with him and his father, You still have Space Marine legions that fight and war and battle and kill each other, and you still don't know their names. They're disposable. As a matter of fact, I would argue that even from their inception with the Thunder Warriors, they were always supposed to be disposable. Let's take a look at this from a true standpoint. The idea of a Space Marine is supposed to be disposable. Yeah, they're the ultimate weapon. No different from an AR-15 is supposed to be the quote-unquote ultimate rifle. At the end of the day, if you don't need a rifle, you put it in your closet. At the end of the day, you don't need a Space Marine. What do you do with it? So let's go forward. Let's take a look at these Space Marines. Let's take a look at how disposable they actually are. Take a look at it at the greater Imperium as it stands right now, right? How do we make one? Oh, that's easy. You get a no-name child. As a matter of fact, you don't get a no-name child. You get about 1,000 no-name children. 1,000? No, that's even more incorrect. We're talking about male disposability here. Kind of getting ahead of myself. You get 1,000 no-named sons, little boys, whose job it is to go and die as they train to maybe, hopefully, possibly become a no-name somebody in power armor. And that somebody is dubious at best. What do you mean dubious at best? I'm going to talk to you about that. Let's talk about that. Whenever you get a space marine that shows up at your backwater planet to help you out in the middle of nowhere, do you think it's going to be the Ultramarines? Oh, that's who you think it's going to be. You think you're going to get the Salamanders. Every other YouTube channel out there will talk about how great the Salamanders, the Sons of Dorn, the Ultramarines, the Raven Guard. That's not who you get, buddy. You know who you get? You get the you get the Red Spiders. Who are they? I don't know. Neither do they. You're gonna get the purple vultures. You understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about this disposability aspect of this whole concept? Whenever the Space Marines show up to your place to help you out, you are not going to get the Legion that stands out that saves the day. In the greater Imperium, the person that shows up at your doorstep might as well be a team that fought on Legend of the Hidden Temple, that Nickelodeon show back in the 90s. The Green Monkeys, the Silver Barracudas. That's who's showing up for you. Some no-name jobber that is, look, no argument, just as efficient as everybody else, but as a nobody. A chapter that is there 150 years and gone the next 50 years. There's no telling how many chapters have been created and destroyed within the span of the Imperium. And that's the point that I'm trying to get to. The purpose of the Space Marines is to highlight that within the Imperium, the male identity is a luxury. The male child is a disposable asset to be used as a resource. This leads into a greater conversation. And once again, this leads into the argument of female Space Marines, and this is the reason why you cannot have female Space Marines. Throw your tomatoes. Go ahead. Downvote the video. I don't care. Women, by their nature, are intrinsically valuable. Why? Because they, in principle, and if you don't know what that term means, in principle, look it up. Women, in principle, can produce children. They are valuable. By virtue of being women, they are intrinsically valuable. Men, one dude can populate a whole planet. If you have 50 dudes, you only need the one. Sorry, the value of boys goes down. So, We can redirect those resources elsewhere. Oh, we have a program that all we got to do is stick these little seedy things inside of you that turns into this gigantic god weapon. Yeah, let's do that instead. Here you go. Put on this sticker. Yeah, you're now a green barracuda now. Cool. Go kill something for the rest of your life. Children, you don't need them. As a matter of fact, we're gonna make it so we're gonna make you so disposable that you think it's an honor to be disposable. How about that? And not only are you gonna think that it's an honor for you to be disposable, you're gonna think it's an honor for you to be disposable, and everybody around you is gonna want to be you. And I know what you're gonna say. Well, jumpsuit. The Imperial Guard's the same way. They die in the droves. And that's a different topic. That's not male disposability. Not the disposability of the boy phenotype. That is something completely different. That's talking about the resistance of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Right? That's why within the Guard, you can argue men and females can be together fighting on the same line because it's like the human resistance against great adversity, right? We're talking about Space Marines, and Space Marines are an allegory, or rather more a representation of the dire need of what it, like, not necessarily the dire need. Well, no, the dire need of what is expected of men in those extreme circumstances for the survival of humanity, right? And that's what a Space Marine is. And gets down essentially to the point of the reason why I'm carrying this water, right? So when it gets down to the point of like, well, why can't there be female Space Marines? This is why. Thematically, right? I'm not even talking about lore reasons. Thematically, the point of a Space Marine is to show the disposability of the male presence within humanity in this circumstance. What can we do with the male portion of our species as a resource? Not as a human being. We don't have the luxury of you being a human being. Sorry, little boy, you're not a human being right now. You are a resource. You are no different from a bullet. You won't take that back. You're not a bullet. A bullet has use. You're no different from the ore that we scraped together to make brass that is the lining for the copper jacket. That is what you are. That is what you are. You're not even that yet. You are so disposable that we can run through 8,000 of you and get one and we'll be happy. And the one that we get is one out of trillions upon trillions upon trillions, which is another thing that everybody forgets. Oh, the Space Marine chapters are only supposed to have 1,000 so that way they can prevent having another Horus heresy. Yeah, but there's billions upon billions of chapters. How many of them come from the Ultramarines, and how many of them are loyal to Gilliman whenever he calls? Which is why it never understood why, like, this is why the Black Templars are idiots. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand why everybody likes the Black Templars. Like, religious fervor, I get it. But also at the same time, like, they didn't have the wherewithal or smarts to be like, oh, I get it. All we really have to do is make another chapter and give a wink, wink, nod, nod whenever we call, just show up. Like, we're the same guy, just change your name. That's all you have to do. Like, that's all that. Uh, Gilliman understood this. Yeah, look, just separate yourself out into chapters. Well, you guys, yeah, we'll be the Ultramarines. You guys will be the Marines Ultra. Wink. You'll totally be a different chapter. There's only 1,000 of you, and then you guys can break off, and you guys can be the Marines Ultra Novas. Cool. We're totally different. Wink, wink. And then the freaking Black Templars were like, no, this is stupid. Yeah, we get it. You guys can't think, count past 4 on your hand. But I digress. The point being is that, like, there's billions upon billions of chapters out there. Most of them are insignificant. Most. Now, how insignificant a space marine is debatable, but the premise is still there. You are worthless in the grand scheme of things. And that's the point. A girl is inherently worth something, and thus could never be a part of this thematic placement of a boy being turned into a space marine, becoming a child soldier. And that's my water that I'm carrying. I don't know. You tell me what you think. Share this video around. Get people to respond to it. I would like to have a conversation about it. Am I back? Who can say? Anyway, this has been Jumpsuit John. I'll catch you later. Have a good one.